wasted time. Should have been here on the outside, read the signs. Used to call you mine, gave it my best, but I don't need one more try. 'Cause baby, I'm all out of hope. Could I find it when I go? Think we're only here to stay alive now. Funny, we ran out of kicks. Now you only make me sick. Think we're only here to stay alive now. 'Cause I know what a waste, what a crime, what a time that I should go. So I take what I can and I toss it in the car. Drive away down the highway, I can't stay. 'Cause I know that all I know, it's time to go. It's time to go. You can pass the blame, say what you want, you got nothing on me. We won't be the same. Don't you call me up, 'cause we badly need this change. Maybe I'm all out of hope. Could I find it when I go? Think we're only here to stay alive now. Funny, we ran out of kicks. Now you only make me sick. Think we're only here to stay alive now. 'Cause I know what a waste, what a crime, what a time that I should go. So I take what I can and I toss it in the car. Drive away down the highway, I can't stay. 'Cause I know that all I know, it's time to go. It's time to go. It's all I know. It's time to go. 'Cause I know what a waste, what a crime, what a time and I should go. So I take what I can and I toss it in the car. Drive away down the highway, I can't stay. 'Cause I know what a waste, what a crime, what a time and I should go. So I take what I can and I toss it in the car. Drive away down the highway, I can't stay. 'Cause I know that all I know, it's time to go. to me, to me.
I feel it coming, I feel it taking control. It's the hurt I imagine from us to nothing. There's something missing you stole, and it's a little tragic. I know I'm better off living without your love, but time and again my thoughts go back to when we were crazy kids with a lot of feelings. I'm too proud to beg and too dumb for stealing. When I rode with you it was all downhill, and losing control was a part of that thrill. A part of me still wants you. A part of me still wants you. I've got my own place, an extra toothbrush as well, for someone you don't know of. But these are long days, and even though you can tell, there's something I can't get over. I know I'm better off living without your love, but time and again my thoughts go back to when we were crazy kids with a lot of feelings. Too proud to beg and too dumb for stealing. When I rode with you it was all downhill, and losing control was a part of that thrill. A part of me still wants you. A part of me still wants you.
my soul, chasing highs yet always feeling low. I remember how you looked, one hello and I was hooked on the missing piece that made me whole. True love don't come round very often. It's like sunshine after the rain. But you know the moment it happens, everything will be okay. I hope I'm not coming on too strong, but you feel like family to me. Finding you was just like finding home, 'cause you feel like family to me. Yeah, you feel like family to me. Yeah, you feel like family to me. You're the reason I wake up with a smile and feel enough. I don't know what I would do without you. Every day I want you more. Tell me I'm forever yours. Let me know it as I stand before you. True love don't come round very often. It's like sunshine after the rain. But you know the moment it happens, everything will be okay. I hope I'm not coming on too strong, but you feel like family to me. Finding you is just like finding home, 'cause you feel like family to me, to me. Yeah, you feel like family. Yeah, you feel like family to me. Yeah. Boy, you were bad for me. But I don't care enough to make you my enemy. Boy, you did good leaving me then and there. 'Cause I'm better without what you call love, I swear. When you take a look at me, you only see what you wanna see. Somebody who can move on. Don't tell me you're sorry. I don't want your pity. Baby, you got it all wrong. You think I'm missing you every night. Every night. You think I'm sad and alone. Oh, so alone. But don't take credit for these red eyes. 'Cause baby, all I cried out tears of joy. Boy, you must think I'm hurt. Thought I was under your spell, but looking back, I was cursed. You left me to drown and sail away on your ship. But I don't give a damn, it's water under the bridge.